Welcome everyone to another episode. I'm with the usuals. It sounds like you guys are
Hey.
attend a bar or something. Okay, we'll start with the meme of the week. Lemon. I'll let you introduce those, so you kind of choose which one.
Well, we had two top contenders for this week. It's kind of hard to describe it, but one of them I'm kind of partial to is because it has a Bionicle in it. I'm not sure if any of you all know what Bionicle is or what it was, but it was a big part of my growing up. And
Yeah, same.
I can't remember. Let me have to watch it again. Like, I think it's what was it? I can't remember what it's called. The syrup company is getting like rebranded because of like racist allegations, and then like some Bionicle is like just ranting about it. What is he even wearing? He's wearing like some sort of pimp costume too.
Yeah, that's what made it even worse. It was like stop motion on top of that.
Yeah, stop motion. Like, which one is it? The red Bionicle, the very first red Bionicle is like,
yeah, the red Toa.
Yeah, red Toa is like getting all upset about Aunt Jimin announces new name, removes racial stereotypes from product. And he's just like I knew they're gonna come after us.
He's like, I told you, it was only a matter of time till the liberals came for our pancakes.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
It's originally from a separate YouTube video that it's really weird, to be honest.
It almost looks like a Robot Chicken sketch to me.
Yeah, I think it's a parody. Because it has this one character off of crap. What's the show? It's not Fate, or is it Fate? Maybe his character's name's Astolfo, and they're at a femboy hooters.
Oh.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, the original video is pretty funny, but that scene's just perfect. Just Jemima.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so we'll continue on. Let's see, which I guess we could just start with the topic that I had you to read up on.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a little bit older news. I heard it on the news. It was about this passenger on American Airlines, I believe, that complained so much. This guy's in business class as well, so like the first class situation. He complained so much about them not having the food that he wanted that they had to land the plane and they escorted him off the plane. I don't know, Mako, did you want to explain a little more? Did you read all the details in the article?
Yeah, if this is the right one, because it turns out that's not the first time that's happened, weirdly.
Yeah, the one that's the Guardian.
Yeah, I guess this guy is a retired British hedge fund executive, and he was upset because they didn't address him politely enough when offering him his meal choices, and they only had vegetarian options.
I wonder if we're reading the wrong or different article.
Let me double check.
Is this the one where it's like to Amsterdam got diverted to Chicago?
Yeah.
Pilot lands plane after threatening to crash into Mississippi Walmart.
You are reading the wrong one.
I'm kind of interested in that one. No, I'll read that one later.
Yeah. How about you read that while me and Lemon talk, and then we can talk about that one too, if time permits. Okay. So, anyways, like Lemon was saying, this guy, they're headed to Amsterdam, and they had to stop in Chicago. They didn't say what the passenger did exactly. It's just that he very rowdy and became a level 1 threat, which is the lowest level.
Oh, right. Yeah, I found the article now.
Oh, okay. I'll let you read that then. Where they had to dump gas, which I reread the article because I was confused on that term. But it turns out they just have to fly in circles until the gas amount is lowered so that they can land the plane. Because it's supposed to be a cross-Atlantic trip, they had, a very full gas tank. But yeah, there's like 3 options, and apparently in the business class you're supposed to get like a 3-course meal. And they had like a steak, a chicken, and like a rib. Tell you, I think that's the option.
Did they offer lasagna?
Oh yeah, what?
Sorry. If any of you have seen the movie Airplane, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. Little reference there. But yeah, it delayed them 3 hours, which in reality, with all the recent plane delays, that's kind of typical. But if without delays, that sucks a lot.
Yeah. I
Uh,
mean,
yeah.
oh, sorry. Yeah, like you said, they labeled him as a level 1 threat, which just means, hey, this guy's unruly. It's the lowest level. So I don't know. Was he just getting worse and worse? And they were just like, we just got to get him off this plane. Like, he must have been making some kind of kerfuffle if it was, yeah, some kind of issue. He was doing that. I mean, gosh, what the? I guess business class passengers. Let me make sure this is the right flight. Flight to Amsterdam, Houston, Amsterdam. Okay. I guess normally on that type of flight, at least on similar flights, they offer a choice between seared beef short rib, seared lemongrass salmon, or ricotta salata.
Yeah,
Oh,
those are the 3 dishes. Yeah.
yeah, and wild honey manicotti.
Yeah.
So what was that? What was the issue? It sounded amazing. Sorry, go ahead.
I know. I was talking to this about my mom, and it's like maybe he had some dietary issue or something like that. But if you know you have those issues, you think you would call ahead and be like, "Hey, I'm on this flight. Do they have these type of meal options? I have these issues. I can't. Blah blah." And I'm pretty sure they would accommodate.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
I don't know. Maybe they give him raw chicken. What do you think? What do you think, Lemon, about this situation?
I'm not sure because I'm kind of thinking about it from the point of view of like the flight attendants, and I'm like, it seems like a no-win situation because you're in a flight, you're in the air. There's not really any way to restock on anything. So it's like if
Mhm.
he's getting upset about something, like not having something, then and he's just continually getting worse. It's like, well, what else can you do? Just kick him off the flight. And I kind of wonder, like, if how bad he has to be in order to like have that happen, because you see all these videos of these Karens losing it on flights, but then they don't like delay the flight. Then, so I wonder like how bad it must have been.
Yeah.
I
But
remember. Go on.
I also wonder, is like about the point of view of the dude. It's like it seems like you cost yourself a lot more issues by making a fuss over it than if you just maybe left a bad review on Yelp or something.
Yeah.
It's like I was looking at the article that said that some people who cause those disruptions can get fined up to like $37,000, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
That's what
like
I'm looking at right now.
dang dude, you could have saved yourself a lot of trouble if you just like sucked it up. But whatever.
When you can be prosecuted on criminal charges too.
For real, so it's like, is it really worth it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially because a typical one-way business class flight from Houston to Amsterdam is $7,000.
That's 7,000. I thought I read 4,000. Still,
6,927.
dang, that's more than I thought.
So it's like I don't think he's getting a refund from the airline for that.
Yeah, he basically just wasted 40. Yeah, like 45 grand because he didn't want to eat chicken or something.
On it says that they have received criticism because the quality of their meals have not reached pre-pandemic levels, but it's still
Oh,
like, why would you? Yeah, exactly. So
it's like I understand one thing. You know, he's going from Houston to Amsterdam. That's not a short flight.
oh yeah, definitely
Um,
not.
you think they would have at least one landing in, like New York or something, but
Yeah,
is it a layover? Is that what it's called?
yeah, that
Um, and then you could buy yourself like a $20 meal from like a Chick-fil-A that's inside or something,
$20 is pretty. That's pretty on spot on.
Yeah,
It's stupid overpriced.
it is stupid. And I can understand, that is, oh gosh. Is it like a 12-hour flight? Is that what it is? Is that what the article said?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
Flight
I
ended up landing. Sorry.
I
Uh,
feel like if it's like a day flight, which I don't believe. Oh, here it is. The typical total flight for that trip is 9 hours and 30 minutes. Like, that's kind of sad. You
yeah,
you can't, like, if you don't want to eat that food, honestly, I can wait 9.5 hours. I've done it before multiple times.
yeah,
And not just because of um things, but just like in daily life, I just like, oh, I forgot to eat. I've been distracted with things. I watch a movie or something. Yeah, you'd be hungry, but you'd survive. And just eat something when you land in Amsterdam.
yeah. I think this is a case of a guy just getting hangry.
Yeah, very, very hungry. I forgot. I guess they took away his Snickers when he was boarding the plane.
I'm also kind of glad that the airline didn't like bend over backwards for him just because he's business class. Like, I'm kind of glad they like called him out for it. Like, no, we're stopping this plane and taking you out because it's like it can very easily be like, oh, we have to bend over our backs because he's a business class dude. But no, they still like charged him and still like kicked him off the flight. So that was kind of nice to hear about that at least.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I know you're already in nice comfort. But anyways, Mako, did you read more about that Mississippi one?
yeah. Let's see. It's by the Guardian as well. Geez, get this out of here. Privacy thing. Pilot lands plane after threatening to crash into Mississippi Walmart. Let's see. Yeah, it
But
says,
the pilot was threatening to crash it.
yeah. The
Oh
pilot
dang!
who stole a plane and threatened to intentionally crash into a Walmart superstore in Tupelo, Mississippi, while flying around the state for 5 hours, will be charged with grand larceny and making terrorist threats, authorities have said.
I wonder what
Oh,
they had against that Pacific Walmart.
I know, right? Joking
Well,
aside, that's really bad. We don't condone that, but
Yeah.
reportedly, he knew how to take off, but not how to land.
have you seen that one video? If I remember right, it's not fake, but it's like a drunk guy and they're at like a airplane showing. And he just like sneaks off past the security and just like goes in the. It's a single person plane. He's like never flown before, just drunk out of his mind, just goes for it.
I don't remember that one.
If I find it, I'll show it to you guys. But
I do remember a funny video where the pilot goes unconscious. So these two guys both volunteer, like, I can fly this plane. And they look at each other and realize one of them tried to mug the other like a year earlier. So they get into a fight and kill each other. And this one guy who's sitting in a pilot uniform says, looks like it's up to me. And next thing we know, there's a newspaper article saying stripper dressed as pilot attempts to land plane. I was like, that was the real twist.
Yeah.
Wow. I guess he put a goodbye message on Facebook, and then he was actually the one who called 911 with a 911, warning that he planned to crash into a Tupelo Walmart.
Oh, at least he didn't want anyone to be there. I guess he just really didn't like that Walmart thing.
I guess sounds. I mean, jokes aside, I guess he was suffering from some mental stuff, so he just figured. But still, like, why specifically say? No, I think you might be right. Why specifically that Walmart?
I don't know. Makes no sense. Don't ever do that, kids. Okay. And then one last story about airplanes. I found it when I was looking up the original article. I guess there was another one that someone else got kicked off. It's a really bad gas, and because they don't really take in air from the outside, um, it just ventilates roughly the same air, just stink up the whole airplane. Is they could no one could take it, so they had to kick them off. So
What?
yeah, I didn't really
Wow.
read into it. That was just the headline of that article. So I was like,
So
all
they're all
right,
just kind of hotboxing in the plane, and they're like, "We got to get out of here."
yeah, except the really bad version. I actually have a fun story about that. Um, except it was a bus, and
Bus.
yeah, except it was one of those travel buses. Bathroom was broken,
Oh no.
and my buddy was like, I really need to go." They were feeling sick previously, and the guy's like, well, you can't really use it. You're gonna have to hold it basically, and it's like a 4-hour drive. He just broke the lock and went in it.
Wow.
Yeah, like the bus driver apparently gave him permission. It's like, hey, if you can get it, you can use it, but
Oh, all right.
it doesn't work. But neither did the ventilation apparently. So
Oh no.
it just stink up. I think it was like bloody hot outside, and stuff, like the windows you can't open. It's just so funny.
It's just a big Dutch oven.
Yeah, it was so bad. Oh, sorry about
Oh,
that. Bad if you
that's
ever listen to this for some reason.
that's awful.
That's
Okay.
horrible.
All right. Any last thoughts or comments?
I'm good.
Okay.
I think I'm good.
Well, we'll move over to the next one. Mika, would you like to introduce this one? I know this is not too old in news. It's still going on, I believe. But we haven't talked about it yet.
Yeah. So, big week for Microsoft. They just won a court case for their Activision Blizzard deal, and by all accounts, it looks like it's going to go through. $70 billion, the largest tech acquisition in history. And it's just been like, yeah, well, it's just been like fascinating to follow. Not just because I own an Xbox and I play that, but just like the scale of the transaction and all the drama and like the peaks behind closed doors. A lot of stuff came out during this court case. Like we learned a few years ago when Microsoft was starting to take video gaming seriously again. They were looking at acquisitions. They thought about buying Sega. They thought about buying Square Enix. And Sega came out and said, "Whoa, we're not." Well, people were like, "Are you going to buy Sega now?" And Sega comes out and says, "No, we're not. They're not buying us, but they do love us." Which I thought was yes, they actually just came out and said we have a really close relationship with Xbox, and they just love us. That's actually what he said. They love us.
No, that's wholesome.
Yeah, I thought that was nice. And then, one of the big twists really was ever since they announced that PlayStation's been coming out saying if this happens, Xbox could take Call of Duty off of PlayStation, and that would ruin us. Like we would just be screwed. The first day of the hearing, Microsoft brought out an email between the head of PlayStation. Actually, I think it was the president of Sony, Jim Ryan, and some of the other executives, and he said there's absolutely no way they're going to make Call of Duty an Xbox exclusive. So privately, he knew they weren't going to do it. Publicly, he kept, saying, "Oh, this is what they're going to do." And the FTC built their entire defense around that. This is who the case was between, the FTC and Microsoft. So pretty much day one, they had no case anymore.
Dang.
Yeah, and then they kept going back to that over and over again. They can make Call of Duty exclusive, and Nintendo isn't a true competitor to Xbox, so Xbox will be too big if this goes through. For some reason, they kept going back to whether the Switch was a real competitor, to the point the judge started getting annoyed.
It's like I want to talk about that phrase a little bit. It like I see what they're thinking, but well, previously, not today's not what's the right term? Not today's world. Nintendo, was almost exclusively their games.
Yeah,
And you don't buy a Nintendo console to play Call of Duty.
exactly.
Like I played a Call of Duty on the Wii. Obviously, it was the Wii. It's kind of a pain in the rear. Not fun experience. But on the game, playing on the GameCube actually was pretty fun. And what is that one old? Well, it's not really old. They tried rebooting it. It kind of failed. But it was another World War II uh, game series that was pretty popular.
Medal of Valor.
Yeah, Medal of Honor.
Yeah, that's it.
That one on the GameCube, good game, really fun times. But Nintendo, I don't even think they care.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, money wise, they probably would care a little bit, but they won't. They're not really worried about people not buying Nintendo products because that's the only way to play Nintendo legally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and that was one. You make a fair point, and that is what the FTC's argument was. Like, you don't buy a Switch to play Call of Duty, or you don't buy a Switch to play, well, Doom. You can, but most people would prefer to, buy an Xbox or a PlayStation for something higher end third party stuff. But the problem is they kept making it out like it wasn't a competitor at all. It's like, well, no, it is. Switch has sold over 120 million units, which is more than Xbox and PlayStation combined. And Tears of the Kingdom sold 10 million copies in 3 days. Like, even if it doesn't have all the same games, it's still a valid competitor. So, yeah, whatever valid actual stance the FTC had against the acquisition, they just were not making it. We're not taking it. Just kept going back to the same stuff that didn't work. So, and yeah, but now a few days ago, the judge ruled that the injunction would be denied. So pretty much Microsoft can close on the deal even without the FTC's approval. And on top of that, Friday, they actually called Lena Khan, the head of the FTC, to Congress, and they just blasted her. Because that same day, the FTC tried to appeal the judge's decision, and the appeals court just said no. It only took them a few hours to decide no. And they were being blasted on Twitter by people saying, "You're wasting taxpayers' money on a case you're not going to win." And that's pretty much what Congress said. They're just like, why are you spending all this money on cases that you have not won? Over and over again, you've been doing this. So they just straight up told her, "We want to cut your budget by 25%. While they were requesting a 33% increase. And it's just, yeah, just huge L. Yeah. Huge loss for the FTC. And I mean, it's not oh, sorry, go ahead.
Just double check. The FTC stands for
Federal Trade Commission.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, thank you.
Actually found out the head of the FTC is only 4 years older than me, so I'm like, jeez. Anyways, yeah, so it's not like a guaranteed done deal yet. They're still negotiating with the UK, but as soon as they won the case, the UK was like, okay, we're willing to negotiate. And earlier today, they announced that PlayStation had finally pretty much thrown in the towel and signed up for the 10-year Call of Duty deal that they offered to Nintendo a few months ago.
Wait. Say that again.
Earlier today, Sony finally gave in and signed a 10-year contract for Call of Duty, the same one that Microsoft gave to Nintendo.
What is that contract for?
Basically, it states that it promises that Microsoft will give Nintendo and actually Steam. They offered it to Steam, but Gabe Newell waved it off, saying, "Nah, I trust Microsoft. We don't need a written agreement." Nvidia, that was a big one because they have GeForce Now, which is a major cloud gaming subscription service.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I said Nintendo, and yeah, Sony. It just promises we'll keep Call of Duty on your services and your consoles for the next 10 years. We won't, give you a crappier version than the Xbox One. So yeah, they actually are trying to get Call of Duty on Nintendo consoles again. And even the president of Activision was like, one of our biggest mistakes was not trying to make a Nintendo port.
Yep.
So all this stuff is moving fast. And then apparently Friday night, Activision was taken off of the stock market.
Okay.
So people were like, that looks like it's pretty much a done deal. Like, they've been absorbed into Microsoft. They don't need representation in the stock market anymore.
Yeah.
But we should find out more tomorrow, because tomorrow is when the CMA is supposed to talk a little bit about their negotiations with Microsoft.
Wait.
And the final day for their hearing is sometime in August. The original date for the deal to close was July 18th. But apparently, all this business and legal stuff is really weird. But apparently, normally, if they pass the date, Microsoft has to pay Activision $3 billion in separation, or fallout fees, or whatever you want to call it.
Not Fallout.
Yeah. Yeah, $3 billion in fees, and then they have to renegotiate. But I guess since the CMA specifically is letting them get an extension, they can just renegotiate without having to do it. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, I haven't played a Call of Duty game for a long time.
I've never played one.
I've been wanting to play Zombies though with you guys.
Oh yeah, that would be good.
I
actually still have we had a roommate that used to play Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies all the time. And he accidentally left his disc with me. Yeah, I still have it with me. I felt so bad, but he was just gone by the time I realized it was still like with my games.
Man, he fell off the face of the earth for some reason.
Oh, he really did.
I gotta see him on Instagram a couple times, but anyways, it's not like I don't care too much because I haven't played them, but I obviously can see why people are worried about it a lot. At least from the time that I was a teenager, at least since I played those games last, it was always Halo, Call of Duty, and Battlefield.
Oh, Battlefield.
And Battlefield kind of fell off when they put out 5. Their fault.
Yeah, and 2042 also wasn't very good. Again, their fault.
Yep. And then Call of Duty put out some pretty iffy games, but I guess the recent remakes have been really good. And Halo has also put out some really iffy games too.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, it hasn't been a good few years for them. But I think it'll just be fine. Uh, if anything, I could see more transactions,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
if anything bad happens, it will most likely be Microsoft's fault, not the
yeah,
not the other systems.
yeah.
What other games has Activision done again?
They make World of Warcraft, Diablo, Overwatch,
Isn't that
StarCraft.
isn't that Blizzard?
Yeah, because Activision owns Blizzard,
Oh, really? Oh,
and
okay. So that's a
they also own King, so they own Candy Crush.
Oh no.
oh.
Yeah, and that was really like when they announced the acquisition, everyone's like, "Oh, you're trying to get Call of Duty," and Microsoft's like, "Well, no, actually, we're interested in Candy Crush. Like, do you know how many people play Candy Crush? We're talking hundreds of millions, guys."
Honestly, I totally believe that.
Yeah, like they're trying to build up a competitor for the Apple App Store and Google stores.
Oh really?
Yeah, so if they can get Candy Crush, which is just by numbers the biggest game, gosh, it might be the biggest game in history. And yeah, that'd be a huge kind of boost for whatever they're making. Apparently, they're making their own app store straight up, not just like, some weird little legal business side thing.
Yeah, but how would you get it on your phone? Are you gonna get is there Microsoft phones?
They actually tried to do those once, it didn't go well. So I think they canned it after one generation, but I think it's probably going to be an app,
All
I
right.
imagine.
So you
I
have to
mean,
go through the Play Store and the Apple Store anyways.
yeah, possibly Android might have better access to it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and just like, I mean, it's also part of why they're trying to build up Game Pass and cloud gaming, because then they're like, hey, rather than playing Candy Crush on your phone, would you be interested in Halo?
On your phone?
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I could kind of see it if they can get there. Like, I've used xCloud myself, and my internet is not great, but it actually runs pretty well. So I'm like, well, crap, if they can get it out of beta and get it working 100%, then yeah, maybe. Yeah, just really interesting stuff. Did you have any thoughts on it, Lemon?
um, not at the moment. No, not really, because I don't really play a lot of Activision games or Blizzard games that much, anyways. So it's just kind of like, yeah, we'll see what happens, type of thing. Hopefully, it'll cause more competition and force the other gaming companies to try to step up their game to compete with Microsoft, so we'll get better games. But that's about all the thoughts I have for it.
Yeah, well, that's been a big part of it. They're just like, will it stifle competition? Will it create more competition? Sony has started kind of investing more in cloud tech. So I guess it's already helped a bit with that. And rumor has it Google's trying to get back into gaming too, only through YouTube instead of Stadia.
Oh,
Wait,
interesting.
who is?
Google.
Oh, Google. So one last thing. Sorry. No, did you have anything else, Lemon?
Nah, I'm good.
Okay. Maybe we can talk about this another time too. But honestly, other than Nintendo, I feel like exclusivity is kind of dying down.
Yeah.
And even though I know that if I have that monopoly of sorts, but they know that a huge amount of people that own other consoles will not be happy if they make things that weren't exclusive for over 2 decades to something that's exclusive.
Yeah.
And I just don't see companies not feeling threatened by their consumer base if they try to make that. They might try to make some special things, like, for example, like Twitch Prime how it has goodies and stuff. They might try that on their console version of the game, but
Yeah.
I don't really see whole game series or companies being exclusive, except Nintendo.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was one of the points brought up during the case. The judge asked Bobby Kotick, the president of Blizzard, like, would you make Call of Duty an Xbox exclusive? And he said, "Are you kidding? The fan base would kill me."
Mm-hmm.
So I am concerned a bit about consolidation because rumor has it Sony is going to try hard to acquire more companies after this. Like rumor has it they're focusing on Rocksteady, which means, if that went through, potentially future Grand Theft Autos and Red Dead Redemptions could be PlayStation exclusives.
Hey, maybe they actually come out faster.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that's true.
that's my thoughts on it.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm wrapped up on that too.
Cool. So, okay, let's see. We have a few minutes. Probably won't talk too much about this one because I know Lemon here has to get off soon. But
Yeah.
the last topic I want to talk about, Mako brought up as well. It was the strikes in Hollywood. I'm pretty sure it's mostly just the kind of the background type workers and movie production.
Yeah.
I also hear because of it, we're gonna have like a year or two delay on some things. So there'll be like repeats instead of new episodes for series and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you have any more information about that, Nico?
I was doing some reading on it. I found out the main impetus behind it right now is, first of all, a lot of actors just aren't being paid enough. I mean, typically when we think actor, we think George Clooney, Meryl Streep, just people that make it big, make millions of dollars. But the vast majority of actors are just, you know, people that are trying to make it or that do it as a hobby, and they're just not getting paid enough. So that's largely what the strike is about. And then on top of that, there's always about AI because AI is getting better every single day. And they're like, are you going to start replacing us, like us less important actors, with AI? And I think I mentioned this to you, Hammer, but one guy was talking about how, I guess they take scans of you when you're doing background work.
Oh.
So they can, I'm trying to understand it, but it sounds like they take scans of you so they can use your appearance later or, as part of the movie. But now companies are saying, well, we can just keep using your appearance and we don't have to pay you for it. And the
No.
actor's like, whoa, 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 no. I should be getting a royalty every time you use my likeness. That's not fair.
Yeah, no. That's kind of dumb. I really hope they. It sounds mean, but I mean, with a lot of news and things popping up about executives and certain company practices, I kind of hope they lose a lot of money.
Yeah, I do too. Even the Motion Picture Association of America, something like that. Basically, this association that all the major studios belong to are like, it's a shame that they wouldn't resolve it peacefully. So now thousands of workers are going to lose money and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't know. Whenever a company does that, I feel like they're just trying to turn it around. Like move the goalposts or whatever.
Yeah, I totally support the strikers here because it's kind of scary how they can just scan their likeness and they can use that likeness forever. So it's like you have no control over yourself, kind of. It's like kind of sketchy. So I'm kind of glad they stand up for it and being like, no, we're not for that.
Yeah, it's a little bit similar to an incident a few days ago. A famous voice actress named Erica Lindbeck found out that this channel was using an AI to simulate her voice for a character that, she portrayed, video game character, and was having it say sexual things. So
Yeah, Yeah, I heard about that, and I think she's a minor too.
Ooh. Yeah, no bueno.
Yeah, the character is a minor. So yeah, she responded to the person making it, said, "Could you please take this down?" Apparently, she was really nice about it, and the guy did take it down, but mocked her, and she got flamed on social media. And all these voice actors stepped up to her defense, saying, "This is our livelihood. And can you imagine if we took your voice and had you saying a bunch of sexual stuff about your mother? Like, no, it's not appropriate."
Yeah, and it's a lot of people talk about the AI apocalypse. As I don't think it's AI itself that's going to be the apocalypse. I think it's how people use AI is going to cause a lot of issues.
Yeah, the root cause will always be human.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So yeah, best of wishes to the actors. Hope they get fair wages and fair contracts for their likenesses and all their representation.
Definitely. I heard a lot of it's kind of like background actors, but I also heard a story about how apparently Matt Damon and Brad Pitt started out as background actors, just like extras type of things, and they eventually worked their way up and they became stars out of it. And the person I was watching a video talk about it, and he's saying like how if you scan someone's likeness and then just never use them again, it's kind of like you're not giving people a chance to rise to stardom type of thing.
Yeah. So when I was reading another article, it talked about like the 70s and 80s, and we were getting all these huge blockbusters, Jaws, Star Wars, Indiana Jones. A lot of that was from younger filmmakers. Like Steven Spielberg was in his 20s when he became a big star, a big director. And you can't really do that as much anymore because just of the way Hollywood has changed. So kind of similar to that, it's like, you need to give the little guy a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to keep growing with the same things.
Which is funny
I
because
feel
one
like
of the biggest. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
no. Yeah, I feel like it's there's like kind of a gatekeeping way in Hollywood sometimes. A lot of people don't really want to give new stuff a chance anymore, like any new franchises that come out. It seems like all the big ones or the big money making stuff that's been coming out lately has been based off of like older franchises like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and all
Yeah,
these Marvel movies that have come out. These are based off like comics that are like 20 to 40 years old type of thing. So it feels like and a lot of games that have come out that have exploded, like Tears of the Kingdom, that's based off like an older franchise as well. So I feel like it's
yeah,
really hard for like new franchises to bust out now. Well, it sounds kind of weird. New franchises to how should I say it? New franchises to I don't know, make it big.
step into the yeah, step into the light.
Expand.
Yeah, step of the light. That's a good one. But yeah,
Yeah,
It's okay. You're just thinking of
yeah.
aliens that we've been playing.
And I feel I notice it myself too. Like most of the times when I'm like exploring new stuff, I'm more reluctant to like pick up like a new book or a new video game. But I'll pick up like stuff like based off of old franchises that I like. Like I'll pick up a lot of like Alien and Predator comics, and I won't pick up any new
yeah,
like indie comics. And same with video games too. Like the game we've been playing, the Aliens Fire Team Elite, whatever it's called, is really fun. But part of me is like, I don't think I would have played it if it wasn't like Aliens type of thing.
yeah. It's a good point.
So it goes both ways. Like I see it myself too a lot, but
Yeah, we get what we freaking deserve.
I mean, we talked about this before, and I feel like uh, video games. Uh, I don't want to be. Um, I can't think of the right word, anyways. But I feel like video games and stuff. It's really hard and serious. I mean, because they try to make something last for as long as possible. Because it's kind of like that phrase: "If it's not broke, don't fix it" type
Yeah,
deal. And but the nice thing about it as well is it's so easy access to these new things. And personally, for me, I mean, we talked about this already. Like I haven't said before, I kind of go back and forth. Like, oh yeah, I'll go back to this one game that I play a lot of times, and then if I play that a few a bit will try out the new game that I've been waiting for, or I've been holding back on
Yeah.
for playing, or something like that. And that's the very nice things about in today's world. We have all that, and it's quick, and there's a lot of people doing it. But as we talked about before as well, there's a lot of it, and so it's also hard to choose and which ones are actually good, and so you kind of go back to those as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's understandable.
Yeah, it's tough.
Like I said, I do it too. Like a lot of times, I'm picking up stuff. I usually pick up stuff that I know I'm gonna like. Like I'll seek out franchises that I know I've liked in the
Mhm.
past, so I'm less likely to give
Exactly.
new ones a chance sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of miss the old times when we were younger, and I would watch stuff and play games at the same time. It's like I can't do
I miss when
that.
companies used to do demos. I think Capcom's the only one that does them anymore.
I know, right?
I know Nintendo
Hooters?
does some, but yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Nintendo does some, but yeah, no. Other than that,
Yeah.
that's
That's why
two
I'm
things.
that's why I'm kind of a shill for Game Pass, if I'm being honest. But it's just because there's a lot of games I wouldn't have even touched that I ended up loving because I tried them out on Game Pass for free.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely like the demo model because it's really nice. Because sometimes you see a game, but like you end up buying it, and it's like, oh, it's not as good as I thought it would be. It's kind of burns you a bit. And it's just you don't want to try out new games anymore. But trying the demo is really nice because you just demo it for free. Then you can try it out and see how it goes.
Yeah, that's how I got to try out Resident Evil 4 and Street Fighter 6, and yeah, how I ended up deciding to buy Street Fighter 6. Of course, I was kind of a given because I love that franchise, which we just talked about, but I mean, it certainly helped.
Yeah. Cool. Um,
No, I think
anything
that's it.
else?
I think that's it for me too.
All right. Well, we'll get this out as soon as we can. Hopefully, what we talked about isn't old news by the time it comes out. Uh, for those who have been listening for a while, it's kind of a pattern. It's a sad pattern where it takes a few days, like 3 days to like a week, for episodes to come out. So it's like, oh yeah, this thing's new and this blah blah. It's like, yeah, everyone's already done with it. It's like, oh, dang it. But if, of course, if you feel like there's anything you want us to talk about, feel free to write it down below on preferably YouTube. I don't know if there's comments on Spotify or anything like that. Like and subscribe. Support the channel. Join our Patreon that we don't have.
That we don't have
Send us cash in the mail.
in the mail. Oh
Oh,
gosh.
well, tell you our address.
1-800 Charming Street.
Make sure to split it up in 3. I only want $2 unmarked bills.
Oh gosh.
Make sure it's an even amount.
Okay. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.